Andrew, so most people start with product when they think of what's possible
Yeah.
with AI. That's not where you chose to start. Why?
Well, we did. So we went to one of the Constellation peer sessions back in May last year, so exactly a year ago, and we were really educated about what the possibilities were with AI. So Click Dimensions, we're in marketing, which has the opportunity as well as the negative side of being one of the first areas that is affected by AI. It's really being aggressively attacked. But I think if you can get through it, then it creates fantastic companies. So we wanted to look at our product in a very different way. You know, Click Dimensions is a horizontal marketing automation platform, and we wanted to create something which was vertical. I'm very much the marketing rather than the technology of marketing and technology, but I passionately believe that AI is a fantastic thing, and I wanted to be heavily involved in it. My background is very much in business transformation, and I wanted to see if there was a way that we could incorporate AI to transform businesses. You have a lot of chat agents out there, and a lot of those chat agents, they are designed to identify problems but not resolve problems. We had an incumbent ticketing system that effectively did that, and I challenged myself and a handful of people to go away and see if we could find a way of improving that, actually change this chat mechanism to being a problem resolution system. So that was our challenge. The great thing about Constellation as well, as you see, there's 1,500 companies. You have lots of people that you can have discussions with to actually find solutions. We spoke to a lot of very large technology companies. We spoke to a number of contractors that we used, and we also spoke to a number of companies within Constellation. And we found a company in Constellation that actually had some experience of this, who could actually help us drive this forward. So we had conversations. We decided we wanted to create a support agent that could resolve problems, but that was not where we started. Our first start point was creating a very simplistic knowledge agent to be used by our support engineers to deal with tier 2 tickets. So when they're on the phone with a customer, they may have a question. Rather than having to go away to a library to get information, they could put in a chat and get the information first of all. And that's what we started with. What was key with that, though, is when you start to digest knowledge or your databases so it can be read by AI, it is read in a very, very, very different way than how a human is. It is, it is binary, it's ones and zeros. So therefore, you need to make sure that the agent can actually pick up those key words so it can actually answer the question properly. So we started off with the knowledge first of all, and then secondly, we wanted to see if we could have a very fluid interaction. So we created up a web agent as well. So it's on our website. So you can go in there, you can ask questions. And those are the first two things that we did. And then we effectively consolidated them together to create the support agent. It took us about 4 weeks to do it after going through those various steps. We launched it in January of 2026. And what we found was that with our customers' interactions with this chat agent, conversational agent, rather than being a lookup agent, it was a problem resolution agent. It effectively resolved 82% of all our tier 1 tickets that went through the chat agent, which is fantastic. Cool. But what's the most important thing is it allows us to generate greater customer intimacy, because first of all, it means that our humans, rather than having to waste time dealing with tier 1 tickets, they can spend time focused on doing tier 2, tier 3 tickets, which are the most important thing. But also, secondly, the time that it took for a customer to actually get a problem resolved, when it's very simplistic as well, rather than it taking potentially 4 hours, because they go into this room, they ask a question, they get probably 4 or 5 different things that they could potentially look at, which could potentially resolve the problem. Rather than that happening, they could speak to the chat agent straight away in any language 24/7. So that is a massive, massive, massive game changer. So that's our step that we did. And then since then, we've gone on and created a lot more agents throughout the organization, looking at specific business problems or workflow problems that we've had. So it's been a really incredible journey.
Now, somebody told me that you name all of these agents. Can you give us some of the names and explain to us why did you go through that process?
Yes, we do, and it's not kind of arrogance on my behalf. When you think about an agent and what an agent can do, it's very important you get a yardstick of that possibility. A human, a work person, they have a role, they have responsibilities, they have areas of responsibilities, and they have tasks that they need to do. So a human may be doing 12, 14, 16 different tasks. You cannot have an agent to replicate a human. An agent can take away one of those tasks. So if you want to have an agent to be able to take all these to these roles, you would need a lot of them. And rather than having support agent number 1 and support agent number 2 and support agent number 3, we decided to name them. So that was the first thing, was just kind of the number of agents that you would need to have set up. But also we wanted to get adoption of the agents. In my background, I've done offshoring, set up technology organizations in India, finance organizations in India, a video conferencing business in Malaysia. And when that happens, there's always an element of question from the employees about stuff that has been offshored. So I wanted to make sure that there was that accountability set up there with people being able to be able to see it and adopt the agent. So yes, we gave all the agents names. They all have a Teams account. So rather than you having to go to some web page or try to find it, you Teams them. You communicate with them exactly as you would with anyone else within Click Dimensions. And I think that's the most important thing. The other thing is, as well, is by giving the agents names, you also have a human who's a manager of them. Because again, this is really vital when you set up agents, is if you set up an agent and you leave it to its own devices, it will go off, and over a period of time, it will go on a tangent. You need to have a human manager who manages those agents all the time. So by giving them a name and managing it, that's the way we moved forward with it. And again, also they're in our organizational chart as well. So we've got absolute transparency about where we have the agents, and that's really driven things forward. Where we've now evolved is we've set up agents. We just wanted to experiment, set up agents. Where we're now going is we're taking the next step, which is creating an AI-aligned department, which means that rather than having humans with a sprinkling of agents to try to improve certain tasks and responsibilities with it, we've actually taken a very different way. We've taken a step back and we said, if we did this from a agentic point of view, how would we set it up as an agent, and where would we sprinkle in the humans? And the whole objective there is to get the efficiencies, to give the greatest experience to our customers, and allowing our humans to spend the most time with our customers as well, to understand their problems, to move things forward. So that was the reason why. But it's working.
It's a great example of, I think, this concept of rethinking and reimagining what you do, not just incrementally improving it.